So a wonderful individual left a comment in my last video stating, "I'm actually surprised you haven't talked about the new live Blink-182 shows and Tom using autotune." Now, I knew Blink-182 had reunited with founding member Tom Delonge and even made a new song called Edging that I really liked. I also knew Live Nation was price gouging Blink's fans for this recent run of live shows that they were doing. In fact, they came to a city close to me and I even thought, well, they're a bucket list band for me to see live. But I still didn't go because I refused to pay the $800 for a good seat. And Josh doesn't do nosebleed seats anymore. So I just figured the boys were out on the road doing their thing and then we'd get a new album. And then I found out they were headlining Coachella, which honestly just goes to show you how little legendary rock band headliners there are out there nowadays. For instance, if Matt Skiba were still in the band, the Coachella Fest would not have been interested in Blink-182 headlining, but I'll save that for another video. Anyway, apparently Mr. Tom DeLonge is using autotune live. Now, the only time I personally remember hearing live autotune was Kanye West when he was on Saturday Night Live, and the autotune was very much in your face and on purpose. It was during the 808s and Heartbreaks phase. But live rock bands using subtle amounts of autotune to cover up their pitchy vocals? I may seem naive, but I had no idea that was a thing. Stick around and let's dive deeper into this. You're listening to, and watching, I guess, Dancing with Ghosts. Okay, so the Coachella Fest actually live streamed the Blink-182 set on YouTube on Friday, April 24th. I just got around to watching the clips before doing any other kind of research, and my initial impression was, wow, holy shit, they sound great. Musically, the band is always solid live, but in the past, the vocals have been pretty spotty, especially on Tom's part. Mark is usually fairly accurate with his vocals, but Tom was the wild card. If you've seen any live clips of Tom singing in the past, at least 15 years, you know what I'm talking about. He is heavily auto-tuned in the studio, and when he would perform live, that fact would become abundantly clear. So I click on the first video from Coachella for their new song Edging just to see how they perform the new song live. And it sounded awesome. It was right on the money. You could tell Tom's voice had aged, but it sounded so much more accurate. And when it's accurate, he almost sounds like he did before his balls finally dropped when he turned 30. I went through all the songs from their set, and I was especially curious to hear the song Stay Together for the Kids because when Tom comes in on the chorus to that melody, it's pretty high up there, and there's only a half-step difference in the melody line, so here's your holiday. When the notes are that close together, live, it's easy to fuck up. Trust me, I know, my band has songs like that, and they're a bitch. So when he hits the chorus, I mean, it sounded kind of rough, but overall, I'd give it like a B-. It was definitely listenable. And I thought to myself, see, there's no way he's using autotune because that was the kind of rough vocal that you would expect from a live performance. And I listened to the rest of the songs and they were even nailing the harmonies, which is something that they never were great at in the past. Did Tom take vocal lessons? Did he get proper rest and not drink alcohol the day before? Did he pull a Celine Dion and take a vow of silence 2 weeks before the performance? I heard she really does that, by the way. No shit. No, it turns out they just used autotune. I scoured the internet for anything to back up these claims. And at first, I turned to Reddit, but the jury seemed divided. A lot of people were pointing to their song First Date as a prime example of the auto-tunage. I listened to the song, but I still couldn't hear it. Then I found a video by a Mr. Julian Grimm, and honestly, I thought he was another one of these 100K plus YouTube channels because his content is super professional and the dude is super knowledgeable about music, so give his channel some love because he has less subscribers than I do, surprisingly. Anyway, this guy actually took audio from the performance and broke down the exact spots where the auto-tune was very obvious.
Then the wobble started. This night lasts forever. It does this in the middle of the song.
And if that didn't convince you, listen to when Tom talks to the audience.
The final nail in the coffin was when the song ended and Tom started talking. Autotune was still on and he became full-on Autotune Jesus.
Hey! Mark, you're doing so fucking good!
He literally goes, hey! Mark, you're doing so fucking good.
Wow. So dude legit uses autotune live now. It all makes sense, because let me be totally honest, as much as I love Tom DeLonge, he fucking sucked at live singing. There was a point in time before his balls dropped where he sounded fine, but then there was that weird period between 2003 and 2006 when Blink broke up and Angels and Airwaves formed. In that time, Tom's voice changed, man. A lot of people have pointed it out and made videos about it, so I won't stress the point too much, but it seemed like after the voice changed, he started to get really pitchy live. They were on the Jay Leno show. It was a reunion performance that comes to mind for their 10-year anniversary of Enema of the State. So they played all the small things that night. And Tom sounded like ass. And that was over 10 years ago. So yeah, autotune is literally the only thing that makes sense as to why he's so accurate all of a sudden. So I'm editing the video right now, and I'm realizing I'm not able to show you a lot of stuff because whether it's Coachella or Saturday Night Live or Jay Leno, all of these shows are very closely guarded with their clips of their performances. So unfortunately, I can't show you a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. That's why you're just getting pictures. I apologize. Now that brings me to my next thought. Do I care? A little bit, actually. Technically, they are singing live and playing their instruments. And yes, Eddie Trunk, they are using some backing tracks, but it's literally just extra guitar bits and piano here and there, so calm the fuck down. However, even though they're singing live, we're getting something that's almost so polished that it kind of takes some of the magic out of the live performance, right? It also got me thinking of a complaint I had about Metallica when I saw them at the Welcome to Rockville festival in 2021. They sounded perfect. Even 50-something-year-old James Hetfield's vocals sounded perfect, singing songs they wrote 30 years ago. Here I drove a couple hours, paid hundreds of dollars for the ticket and shitty food, and had to deal with hordes of people just to essentially get the same experience I could have gotten by watching one of their live DVDs, where everything is doctored and they take the best performances from the entire tour to make one seemingly cohesive, continuous performance. Now, a band that I know that does not do this is Rush. Though Rush does use some backing tracks with a little backing synth sounds or vocals, when Geddy Lee sings, that's how he sounds right there in the moment, warts and all. And you know, it feels more authentic, so there's that factor. But honestly, going back to the Blink-182 performance, if I had never known about the autotune thing, I would have just been pleasantly surprised. I think the tech that was running their live set really fucked up by not turning off the autotune when Tom started to address the audience, because that was the main time when you just couldn't deny his voice had autotune on it. But I don't know. If any band needs autotune live, it's Blink-182. And if Tom's live singing is more bearable, I think I'm for it at the end of the day. What do you think? Is live autotune a cop-out? Is it cheating? Or is it wisely using technology to give the audience the best possible concert experience? For me, I think it depends on the band, honestly, you know? And I think for a band as historically bad live as Tom is when he's in the band, I think for them, yeah. I mean, if it's like the difference between a really rough shit performance that's like barely listenable or something that's like, hey, it sounds like Tom, but you know, his voice is live and it's accurate. I don't know. To me, it depends on the band. Like, there's no reason for Primus to ever use autotune. That's just how the dude's voice sounds. I could go down a list of them. But anyway, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, have a good rest of your night.